when it comes to Kyle Shanahan, do you think he wants Trey Lance to be good? And not for the team. I mean, obviously, you want everybody to be good. You want everybody to do great. But let's say Trey Lance goes in, and right now Kyle has it in his head. Brock Purdy's my quarterback. As soon as he's healthy, he's going to be on the field. He earned that opportunity last year with what he did. It was awesome. He ran the offense. Man, I like this kid. Great. And then all of a sudden, Trey Lance comes into training camp, and you start to see, oh man, this is why we draft. He's pushing the ball down the field. Man, he's more consistent throwing after now a second whole little segment type thing with the throwing coach, Jeff Christensen. And now all of a sudden he's more consistent throwing the ball. He's doing well. He's doing all those things, and he looks great. Do you think that'll actually almost be kind of a disaster for Kyle Shanahan? Because now he might actually have to give him an opportunity to either hang himself or really kind of compete against Brock Purdy, which I don't think he wants. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think he wants that. I think he's been pretty clear that Brock Purdy is the leader in the clubhouse if he's healthy. There's that saying, if you have two quarterbacks, then you have none. QB controversies can be brutal on locker rooms, on fan bases. We're seeing it in our fan base right now. It's pretty evenly split between Purdy folks and Lance folks, and it's tearing our fan base apart. And also there's like the whole Kyle ego question, right? I mean, does Kyle want to have a slightly inferior quarterback who just does whatever he says rather than somebody who's a little bit more gifted, who's going to do more off script and therefore detract from Kyle's scheme? And people are going to say, oh, Trey Lance won that, not Kyle's genius, and I like Kyle a lot, but I mean, I have to admit, I have my wonders if he doesn't prefer that slightly inferior quarterback, so they can be like, wow, look at how amazing Kyle did with an average quarterback, 3 NFC championships and a Super Bowl appearance in 4 years. Yeah, there's reasons to question that, whether he really does want Trey Lance, especially the way he played Trey Lance in 2022, running him so much between the tackles, which is ultimately how he got hurt. Albert Breer came out with this narrative that like, oh, the Niners were willing to, lose to let Trey Lance develop. But the actions dictated or, said exactly the opposite of that it looked like Kyle felt like the only way to win with Trey was to run him. And he wasn't willing to develop him and let him throw, not to call the same plays that he calls for Jimmy G and for Purdy. So, there's a lot of evidence to say that Kyle doesn't want Lance to be the guy.
Right. And my whole thing on that was more so just to stop the conversations that we're having every offseason about the quarterback position, right?